Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've got ourselves a new horror gem.
We are back in 5, 4.
Late Night with the Devil is the newest indie horror movie making a lot of buzz, written, directed, and edited by Colin and Cairnes, and is distributed by Umbrella Entertainment, a name you may recognize for their work with physical media home video releases. It also stars David Dastmalchian, notably in the lead role. Dastmalchian is someone you may know from his work in some of Denis Villeneuve's films. He also played Polka Dot Man in James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie. He's an actor I've followed for quite some time now, and I've really loved everything he's done, but he's yet to get an opportunity to be in a lead role. Until this movie. Late Night with the Devil is a found footage horror film centering around the host of a 1970s talk show who on Halloween night invites a purportedly possessed girl onto the program in an attempt to boost ratings. This movie premiered at South by Southwest back in 2023, but is only now getting a theatrical release, and luckily enough I was able to get a screener for this one because it's not showing in any theaters anywhere near me. And I was really excited for this one, not only for the name attached, but because it seemed like it could be something new, something fresh, and potentially breathe some life into the horror genre that hasn't been very strong so far this year by any means. The found footage subgenre is also one that I've found to become pretty stale as of late, but incorporating the 70s time period with this live broadcast gone wrong premise, it seemed like there was quite a few ideas here that could be very interesting. I've got to say, I was very pleased with Late Night with the Devil, and it's honestly one of my favorite movies of the year thus far. The concept works wonders and never comes off as too gimmicky. You buy into the story it sets up, and thanks to the overall look of the movie and many of the editing choices, it feels very authentic to the time and the setting of what a late night talk show would have felt like in the 70s. In fact, I watched this movie with my mom, and I think it got too real for her. With her being someone on the outside looking in and not really keeping up with current releases of new movies and actors aside from the big names that you would expect, she spent the majority of this runtime watching this movie thinking it was really found footage that had been collected and distributed from nearly 50 years ago. And as the scares began to creep in, she got increasingly more uncomfortable and simply could not make it through. I say all of that to support the fact that this movie knows exactly what it's doing and excels in bringing its ideas to life. You can tell everyone involved here was very passionate about making it, and the results are a movie that's very engaging and extremely suspenseful at times. The way it's cut together, it starts off pretty harmless, but through backstory and these cutaway scenes in between the broadcast, we slowly learn more about what's going on, and especially get deeper into Dastmalchian's character, and through his development we learn that there's much more going on here than what's on the surface. And slowly, it really begins to morph into something a lot more sinister. The guests become more intriguing, and things that are subtly hinted at earlier on begin to emerge and expose itself. Obviously, the biggest draw of the movie is when Dastmalchian's character brings on a girl to the live broadcast that has an apparent direct contact with the devil himself. And everything involving this is extremely well executed and very unsettling. We've seen plenty of exorcism movies in the past, and we've watched a ton of movies to where people play with relics to try to communicate with past loved ones only to conjure up something demonic instead. But it all has a tendency to become overplayed and very campy. But I think because of the approach here and having the movie be placed in this setting where everything is being shown through what looks like a televised event with multiple cutaway angles, a live studio audience, and even skeptics in the crowd, when these things start to happen, it's easy to feel like you're experiencing something real. That is obviously the reaction they wanted the audience to have with this movie, and they captured that perfectly. Credit also needs to go to the makeup and effects team here. There isn't much CGI at play. In fact, I'd say 90% of it is practical. You just don't see that much today. But I really wish we did, because it really benefits the overall experience. It makes everything feel a bit more tangible. And the body gore here is very impressive. It's bloody, it's grotesque, it's everything I look for in a movie like this. Everything they did here really worked for me, and I began to feel a sense of discomfort while I was watching, which is very very hard because I watch so many scary movies that I've become desensitized to most of it. And don't get me wrong, it's not going to scare you so bad that you're not going to be able to sleep at night, but it's just tasteful enough and very effective in its approach that it provides just the right amount of tension. Now, when it comes to the ending of the movie, that's where my views change just a bit. As much as I love the majority of this movie, it does some things that make it edge toward silly territory. It sort of abandons the simplicity for something bigger that didn't completely work for me, but I also didn't hate it either. It may be something that makes or breaks the entire movie for you, but that just comes down to who you are and what your preferences are. Overall, I had a great time with Late Night with the Devil, and it definitely gives me hope that there's still some creative juice left in the horror genre to explore. And I love seeing David Dastmalchian have an opportunity to display his acting ability in this leading role. And I definitely believe that this may be the thing that sort of catapults him into even bigger stardom and gives him more opportunities like this.
Here's Mr. Midnight, Jack Darrow. Oh, good evening, night owls, and thank you for allowing me into your living rooms once again.
But with all that being said, I'm gonna have to give Late Night with the Devil an 8.5 out of 10.
I like it a lot.
Guys, please check this movie out when you get the chance, and I definitely recommend seeing it in the theater if you have that option. The more we support these small indie movies, the more incentive there will be to make more of them. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to comment down below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this movie. Also, if you would, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, I'll see y'all later. Peace out.
With Jack Darrow.